and today I'm going to just make a video and talk about what has been going on for the last 2 months. As like most people know, I was in a relationship with someone, and it didn't end very well. It wasn't a good relationship, and it took me a while to kind of figure that out. There were tons of red flags. There were tons of things that, as a person, I didn't notice until people were bringing them up to me. And a lot of people realized that, I wasn't happy anymore. I wasn't the girl that everyone grew up knowing. I was in an abusive relationship, and it wasn't a physical abusive relationship. It was a emotional, verbal, mental abuse relationship. And at sometimes, I'm not knocking physical abuse. I think that's a really bad abuse. Any abuse is really, really bad, but I think at the same time that, the mental and verbal abuse is sometimes way worse than physical abuse, because you're never obviously going to get over someone hitting you, but at the same time, the bruise that you get from someone hitting you is always going to go away, but people's words or actions are always going to stay with you. And so, last night, I was going to make a video, but it was 2 in the morning, and it finally hit me last night that I was in a really bad relationship. And the only reason it hit me was because I was sitting in bed and people were saying nice things. I was talking to my best friend and she was saying nice things about me, and I was just sitting there and I was like, he's taken things that I love about myself and has made me hate them. And I just don't know how you do that to a person. I don't understand how you can take what someone loves about themselves and just make them hate that about themselves. And it's really sad. And it really hurts. I'm sorry. Our relationship to everyone looked really good, and I think, that's what what I wanted everyone to think, because I didn't want people to know, we fought all the time, or that, things were said, or things were done, or, I'm gonna be honest, I did hit him, sometimes, because I got so angry at him, and, it wasn't right of me, I should have not done that, but at the same time, he and I would try to make each other angry, and it was just a really toxic relationship, and, I don't know, it's just really hard, and, it was controlling and manipulative, and it just sucks, because him as a person, he's a really good guy, but, when he gets angry or any of that, it just comes out as this and that, and there's some more things that have come out, and, especially with my anxiety, I do have anxiety, I'll admit that. It's bad sometimes, it's the worst sometimes, and I would have panic attacks or have anxiety attacks, and he would sit there and, a couple of days later, he'd be like, were they really real? Were, you actually having one? And for someone to question my anxiety or my attack, that's just not right, and it's really sad. And he took my again, everything I liked about myself. One thing I loved about myself was that, like, I could stand up for myself, and I could be strong. And in the middle of a relationship, like, I didn't stand up for myself at all, because I didn't know what he was going to do or say to me. And I remember one night when he was, like, talking to me and saying mean things, and he was in my face, and I, like, grabbed his hand, and he, like, twisted my thumb, because he was trying to get me off his hand. And he, like, I fall to the floor because my hand had hurt so bad. And he comes out there and he's like, let me see it. And I'm just like, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to talk to you. And he was like, fine, then lay there and cry, you dumbass bitch. Like, that's not love, and that's not right. And anyone does that to you, or anyone says that is, like, I love you, or I'm sorry, like, that's not love. Someone should not do that if they love you. If they love you, like, they wouldn't do that to you. They wouldn't say mean things to you. They wouldn't, you know, control you. Or, you know, the number one thing that was a problem was, like, it didn't matter what I was doing. Like, I couldn't go by myself anywhere except my dad's house. Like, he wouldn't let me go anywhere. And the second that I did go to work one day for, like, 2 hours, I came home and he was like, where were you? What were you doing? Like, your time's not adding up. Like, someone should not question where you were or what you were doing. Like, that's just not right. And so I just kind of wanted to tell my story and tell you what a mental and verbal abuse relationship was like. And I mean, there was tons of more things that happened that I don't even really want to talk about. And of course, I'm not going to say his name because that's not right, because that's someone's personal, you know, life. But at the same time, like, I don't want people to look at me and be like, well, she is a weak person because she stayed in a relationship for longer than she should have. No, I got myself out of a relationship that was really bad way before, you know, it got even worse. And, again, there were red flags, there were yellow flags. Like, you know, if he didn't show me some of those flags, like, I wouldn't have noticed until, you know, I was probably 13 years in a marriage and then getting divorced because, you know, I had been beaten, or if I had a child by then, they would be beaten or something. Like, it's so scary to think about. But at the same time, like, I got myself out of a relationship that could have turned into way worse. And I don't want people to, like, look at me and be like, wow, you hit yourself for something, like a guy has said. Yeah, I do, because at the same time, like, it sucks. It really sucks. I don't hate myself. I just hate things about me, you know, like my anxiety and, the way that I'm strong, or different things that I've, over the years, come to love about myself. At the end of the day, like, I'm a hardworking, independent woman. Like, everything that I have or got in my life, I've worked super hard for. Like, I know that I don't get it handed to me on a silver platter. But at the same time, like, I went through a really hard year last year. I went through, you know, 2 family deaths and an identity crisis and all of this stuff. And I ended up having 3 Ds in college, and I've never had a D in my entire life. And that wasn't because of him, that was because of me. And, like, I went through a really, really hard year last year. And so at the same time, like, this year I'm trying to make it better, and I think getting rid of kind of dead weight should help me. And I'm ready to start school now and see where it takes me. And the moral of this story is, like, if you ever feel like you're, like, in an abusive relationship, like, get out. And I know it's not easy to get out, obviously, but make sure that you have your support that you need. And, you know, it went from lying to me about things to always wanting to know where I am, never letting me go by myself anywhere, to calling me names and saying things to me that obviously he knows were things to me that were gonna hurt my feelings. And that's not a relationship. And if you ever need someone to talk to, like, you can comment, subscribe, message me on YouTube, find me on Facebook, and I'll be there for you, because this obviously was not a good relationship, and I don't want anyone to ever feel this way. Like, I would never wish this on my worst enemy to feel this way. Like, it sucks. So to end this video, I'm going to take a quote from one of my favorite music videos of all time. It's a Taylor Swift music video, and it's to the song I Knew Your Trouble When You Walked In. The worst part of it all wasn't losing him, it was losing me. And another quote from that music video: you never know who you are until you lose who you are. Thank you guys for listening. And again, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you.